up on your block, then break it down.
2017 was quite the year for music. We saw releases from stars such as Kendrick Lamar, Lorde, Bruno Mars, and Jay-Z. We saw triumphant returns from Dirty Projectors, Arcade Fire, Fleet Foxes, and Grizzly Bear. Artists changing their sound, trying new styles, and delivering strong political messages through music. There have been a lot of great albums this year, but we are looking at the best of the best. Here are the top 10 albums of 2017. Number 10. Cuddle Magic, Ashes Axis. Cuddle Magic's Ashes Axis is truly a return to form. This album boasts wonderful beats and fluctuating keyboard parts mixed beautifully below the soaring vocals. The album's consistent message of longing and hurting matches perfectly with the ice-cold production. From the snappy first notes of the album opener Slow Rider to the final melancholic beat of the closer Round and Round, the album flows together. Ashes Axis is Cuddle Magic's most cohesive and structured album and showcases how mature they are becoming as musicians.
I've been dreaming alone, that's no way to get back.
Number 9. Thundercat, Drunk. While listening to Thundercat's Drunk, you are sure to laugh at least once. Thundercat's lyrics on this album can be peculiar but hilarious, weird and shocking all at the same time. His bouncy bass lines can be heard on every track and are some of the album's highlights. There are many guests on this album, all the way from Pharrell to Kendrick Lamar, and they really add something to the album. With 23 tracks, the album never feels long or redundant, and Thundercat seems to introduce something new and fresh on every track. Number 8. Gorillaz, Humans. After a 6-year absence, Gorillaz returns with Humans, a politically fueled and funky album. Humans' dance production creates an interesting contrast with the strong political lyrics, and the guests add something special to each track. From the glittery moments featuring rap group De La Soul to the heart-wrenching disco track Andromeda featuring Dram, this album checks off everything Gorillaz fans were hoping for.
Looks to laugh for. Take it in your heart now. Half here, half there, past the lashing rain.
Number 7. Fleet Foxes, Crack Up. The folk powerhouses Fleet Foxes return with a sonically sound and complex album with songs that remember past loves and question what's next. Fleet Foxes sound very mature on Crack Up, and Robin Pecknold's songwriting shines as he gives us more beautiful harmonies, guitar arrangements, and avant-garde instrumentation. Many of the songs on this album exhibit a fresh take on popular folk music with new and interesting song structures. Crack Up is the Fleet Foxes' most mature album and shows how far they have come as a band. Number 6. St. Vincent, Masseduction. The guitar extraordinaire St. Vincent brings us a much more electronic album, with electronic beats, but still retains her signature sound and consistent songwriting. This album's lyrics are much more personal and have many themes such as sex, drugs, depression, and death. The single, Pills, a track questioning the absurd use of household drugs, features a chorus sung by her ex-girlfriend, Cara Delevingne, and a saxophone solo from Kamasi Washington. Songs such as Happy Birthday Johnny, New York, and Slow Disco really pull at the heartstrings. Masseduction is St. Vincent's most explicit album and is not afraid to say anything, even if it will make you feel a tad uncomfortable.
New love wasn't true love, back to you.
Number 5. John Moss, Screen Memories. Former Professor John Moss brings us Screen Memories, arguably one of his most accessible albums to date. This time, Moss brings us more of his trademark bass lines, which are the highlight of many tracks. The opening track, The Combine, features a triumphant horn section in the second half, and Side to Side features harpsichord-like arpeggios to start off the song. On Sensitive Recollections, Moss delivers one of his most emotional performances, speaking of a weeping mother who doesn't know her children love her. Screen Memories is John Moss's most thoughtful LP and one of his most fluent albums, hooking listeners from beginning to end. Number 4. Mac DeMarco, This Old Dog. Goofy Canadian songwriter Mac DeMarco brings us an album about his father passing away. Acoustic guitars are prominent on this album, and synthesizers play a larger role, while the percussion is much more minimalistic. The album's dark lyrics contrast with the cheerful sound, with many of the lyrics focusing on Mac's issues with his absent father and dealing with him slowly passing away. Tracks like Dream From Yesterday and On the Level feature some amazing synth melodies, but the album also has some heartbreakers, such as the title track, This Old Dog, and One More Love Song. The album ends with one of Mac's most thoughtful songs, Watching Him Fade Away, where Mac is unsure about his feelings towards his father's inevitable death. This Old Dog is Mac DeMarco's most mature album and his strongest to date.
Always kept it straight, you'd never learn. You run the risk of all the risks you take.
Number 3. Foster the People, Sacred Hearts Club. The band that brought us pumped up kicks, Foster the People, are back with their third album, Sacred Hearts Club. The album is very musically diverse, but still has a consistent flow from track to track. Sacred Hearts Club returns to the band's electronic roots and has a more danceable feel, while still capturing their playful melodies and compelling guitar riffs. The album starts off with a hip-hop influenced Pay the Man, and is followed by the more poppy Doing It for the Money. Sit Next to Me follows and is the band's smoothest sounding song and has one of the catchiest hooks, not to mention an irresistible bass line. This album showcases the variety of genres the band can capture and pull off with exceptional success. From hip-hop to dance, from psych to punk, this album is for anyone, and not one track feels out of place.
You can see where things go naturally. Just say the word and I'll part the sea. To sweat in the night, strange sensation to feel alive.
Number 2. Avi Tare, Eucalyptus. Animal Collective co-founder Avi Tare, or Dave Portner, brings us Eucalyptus, a return to his roots as a musician. Eucalyptus has a more stripped-back acoustic sound, a sound that harkens back to Animal Collective's 2004 album Sung Tongs. Eucalyptus is an album about Tare's breakup with Angel Daradorian, who, funny enough, contributes many vocals on this album. Season High has a very delicate guitar that matches perfectly with Portner's graceful vocals, and Miss Secret features an exquisite slide guitar and delivers a melancholic message while still managing to sound optimistic. This album also has some softer and sorrowful moments, such as PJ, a song Tare wrote in honor of a friend that recently passed, and the heartbreaking When You Left Me. Eucalyptus is Avi Tare's most intimate and haunting album, and contains some of the best music he has put out so far.
Think you feel better if you do your hair up pretty. This crowd around my drink, I am alone. The things I start to say are bitter.
Before we look at number 1, here are some honorable mentions.
Saw you on the street, but I had you in my dreams tonight. If I saw you on the street, but I
Now a one-man band, Dirty Projectors brings us their first album in 5 years, the self-titled Dirty Projectors, and it is an excellent return to form. This album represents a massive shift in style as the band goes from indie rock to electronic glitchy R&B. Now just David Longstreth, the album Dirty Projectors is deeply intimate as it details the dismantling of his band and his long-term relationship as well. Dirty Projectors features dazzling horn and string sections, incredible tropical percussion and beats, and a number of earworms that will be stuck in your head for days.
Dreams are dumb and meaningless, like the days they fried, blurred and dull empty.
The album begins with Keep Your Name, a haunting, glitched ballad that features a sample of his own song and an agonizingly beautiful hook. Longstreth details the story of his relationship and band through the horn-drenched Up in Hudson, a 7-minute jam that has an epic out-of-tune guitar solo in the second half. Little Bubble is another heart-wrenching ballad that captures the lows that Longstreth hit after his relationship ended and is the most captivating song on this album. Tropical Jam Cool Your Heart is followed by the organ-doused I See You, which sees Longstreth looking optimistically at the future through an almost gospel-like vocal delivery. Dirty Projectors by Dirty Projectors is the finest album of 2017, and for good reason.